Hello Gemini, and welcome to your monthly forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're going to look at the next 6 to 8 weeks together, focusing on the energy of August. I always like to begin with channeled messages, and as I was tuning into the energy of your sign today, what came to me was the image of a hermit crab. It was really cool as I started to do some research on this particular totem because it was all about symbiotic relationships. And it's almost the antithesis of what we normally think of a hermit. You probably thought I was going to feature the hermit, but actually they're very communal, very cooperative, and I love that I learned something new as I researched this. So, as I said, they often live in colonies, and in fact, they help each other out. One of the things that I saw in my research that they do for one another is obviously they depend on other creatures out there for their shells, namely snails, but other gastropods as well. But when they are ready to kind of like upgrade, sometimes what they'll do is get together in a group, queue up, and they organize themselves by size, and they can do basically a shell swap so that each of them can get into a bigger shell. And I thought that was really cool. They also have symbiotic relationships with other creatures. So the ones that live in the sea oftentimes will partner up with something like an anemone, and basically the anemone will protect them from various predators. And as a thank you, they get to eat the scraps that the crab is sort of dining on. So there's this nice connection that they have, symbiotic relationship, which I love. So we have cooperation, we have symbiotic relationships, and also they're taking these shells that are otherwise unused and they're taking advantage of that. So they're recycling. And even when they can't use it, they give it to another crab. So I was like, this is kind of an amazing creature. It is all about the collective good. It's looking out for, the other crabs. Occasionally, I was looking at some of the videos. Sometimes a crab will get in there and take one of the shells in that line, and they shouldn't be. But by and large, pretty cooperative, pretty cool. And again, sometimes they exist in larger groups. I think because they live in that shell and they kind of go inward, it has the name hermit crab, but it's not as sort of isolated as you would think, and I thought that was really fun. So this month, what I want to look at as we take a look at your cards is opportunities for partnership, areas where you might see these symbiotic relationships coming in, places where you might be able to reuse, recycle, or kind of shift around things so you don't have to start from scratch and reinvent the wheel. Okay, so let me get everything set up here, and we're going to get started on the Celtic Cross. And basically, this portion can be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus. Really, you can use this for any aspect of your chart. We'll go a little deeper into Sun, Rising, Moon later. And without any further delay, let's get the cards shuffled and see what's coming through for you. By the way, thank you so much for taking some time to basically take a look at your month. It's so nice. You have a lot of choices here, and I'm honored that you decided to spend it with me. Before I get into this, I get a lot of questions about the decks that I use. I'll put a link in chat while I'm premiering this, but you can also go to my website and click on the main navigation. This is Universal Celtic Tarot. At this point, I'm going to remain quiet and just kind of allow for all the cards to get arranged, and then we'll see what's on board here for the next month for you. All right, let's begin with the catalyst. This is basically something that can help you create movement and action and keep you on the right track. So what we have here is basically someone or something in your life that may be trying to coerce, may be trying to push you into doing something that you don't want to do. I like that we see Medusa on this particular card. Your opportunity here is to stop that, to basically pump the brakes and say, this doesn't work for me. I'm not going to do this just because you want me to, or you're basically going to put a line in the sand and stand up for what is important. One of the tools of Medusa is eye contact. So if you can have a face-to-face conversation and really drive the point home, I think that is going to be invaluable. You also want to elevate the conversation. I believe we got a peace offering here. We did. So when I looked at the message around health, we have the antithesis of this. This is kind of an aggressive, if you will, oracle card, and this is the antithesis. This is saying when you're met with that sort of sense of my way or the highway, or even someone that's being really overtly pushy, you come back and you say, that doesn't work and it doesn't intimidate me. You're going to lead by example. And remember that all of the energy that we talked about with the hermit crab was really it was about the greater good, and you're going to see if there's opportunities to help the person see the big picture. Otherwise, you might just focus on a better path or a place where you can plug into something that is more symbiotic, something that is a better match for you. Okay? So pumping the brakes at the very beginning of the month, stopping an old process, stopping someone from pushing you, allowing yourself to really lead by example, choosing the path of peace. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the Celtic Cross. And as we're focusing on the messages this month, what I'm seeing here is a chance to liberate yourself, to move beyond illusions, to also push through to the finish line. It's really some good stuff, actually, overall. There's a couple of challenges, but that's why you showed up. And lo and behold, I didn't notice this until now, we do have the Hermit. And as I said, the Hermit crab isn't necessarily the Hermit, but we'll talk a little bit about this in just a moment. Let's start off with the centermost card, the Five of Swords. This card is a reminder to save your breath. That's actually what you could put on the caption. There are people in your life sometimes that are not going to listen to reason. The person in this card is already walking away. They're kind of stuck in the haze here. You can't really see them that well, and they're focusing on the next thing. What happens sometimes in day-to-day conversations is sometimes people don't listen. They're too busy thinking of what they want to say to you rather than what you're trying to tell them. Sometimes they're not accountable. They know they did something wrong and they just don't want to think about that because that would require work and acceptance, and they probably don't like the way that feels. Sometimes people just disagree with you and there's a lot of stubbornness. And each one of these examples is indicating basically a brick wall. You're just not going to see any movement there. So if someone needs to walk away and move into a different direction, this card is usually encouraging you to let them and to focus on something else. Sometimes people just need to be right or need to get the last word in. That doesn't make them right. That doesn't make that any better. But what you can sometimes understand is that by continuing to kind of like stress out over something like that, it's just going to diminish your energy and your power. So if you see someone like that, this is the month to unplug. They are the antithesis of symbiotic. In fact, they're more of this. We see the devil here, and this is a chance to basically untether yourself from that energy. So you'll see it, you'll know it, you'll release it. And whenever I read cards, the Seven of Swords, the Five of Swords, and the Devil card typically work in concert. So I see that we see two of them. The Seven of Swords is probably floating around out there somewhere. And that typically is someone trying to get away with something. So sometimes the 5 and 7 are just like two faces of the same person. So anyway, you now know that there's something that's not worth your time. Let's see what was crossing this card. So on top of this, we have the Judgment card. I love this Judgment card. We see someone riding up on, what is it, a dolphin here, but basically moving to greater heights, to something better. It's basically like graduation. And always in a Judgment card, you will see like souls rising from the dead. And here we have a playful energy, a euphoric energy, an intelligent energy, because dolphins are intelligent. And this person's just saying, I'm ready, bring it on. So I see you you're going to higher ground, you're going to something better. There's one little hiccup for some of you that you might have to deal with, or one echo from the past, but it's going to be so easy here to just move in a new direction that it's worth it. Judgment is asking you, what are you going to do next? So here's the cool thing with Judgment. The decision for you sometimes has already been made. You're like, I know I want that. But now there's a little mini decision, which is, okay, I want it. What am I going to do to initiate it? So there's some planning, there's some releasing in this card as well. And there's a reminder that if anything has come to pass, a relationship, a job, an opportunity, it is not the end all be all. Right after this is one of the best cards in the major arcana, the World. It's all about expansion. So if you just got through something tricky, a conversation, if you just disconnected from someone or something that was less than ideal, now you are untethered. Now you are free to basically to thrive, to decide, to move, to do whatever you need to, okay? Let's look at what you've been working on in the deep past. With the Hermit card, this is a very affirmative message. This is basically saying you've done the work. You've done the homework to get to the next level. And it's interesting because we don't necessarily as adults get those, gold stars or grades or graduation diplomas. You have that when you're younger, but as you're older, you have to decide for yourself. And you still get to decide. It's all about free will here when I'm reading this. But let me say two things. This one is typically wisdom, and this is a breakthrough. This is tantamount to some sort of a graduation. So Spirit is showing me that this is time, karmically, energetically, knowledge-wise, energy-wise. It feels like you've opened up a portal. So my question to you is, are you ready to go to the next level? In a relationship, it could be taking it to the next level. A job, it could be quitting or signing on the dotted line. It's something big. Whenever judgment or the world is coming through, it's not the status quo. So you're either going to upgrade or you're going to move on. And if you're ready, then this is the perfect time. And even if you're not ready, it feels like the wheels are turning. In fact, here we have in the recent past the Wheel of Fortune. You're worth it. That's what this card is saying from Spirit. If nobody else in your life has said you're worthy, you're worth it, you're capable, you're qualified, this card says it. And this card backs it up. So this is wisdom, and this is the payoff for that. This is coming back from something, and it's basically like a rebound energy. And we can even see that beautiful sort of rebounding energy with the dolphin. So this is an opportunity to rise above, to move beyond. And I love how we see a very fruitful, fertile Wheel of Fortune card. Some of you might be finally ready to let go of something, to publish something, to distribute, to release something. And this Wheel of Fortune is sitting there applauding you, saying, it is time, it is due. You're going to get your due right now. There are challenges, and I don't sugarcoat, and I also don't work from fear, but I'm going to highlight one of them, which is when it comes to contracts, make sure that you know what you're signing. When it comes to people around you that you're counting on, if they let you down, make sure that you do call that out and just say, I need to move in a different direction. Because this Judgment card is holding someone to account, and if they walk away, that's fine, but make sure you've protected yourself in that situation, okay? Because you've put in the work. I can see that. Many of you have put in the work, and I want to make sure you get your due. All right, this can be a new job. This can be improvement in money. This can also be a new cyclical shift in your life. So I mentioned karmically releasing something, energetically moving on to something new. This is all of those things. And also birthing energy here because we see the pregnant belly. So I just love everything about this imagery on this as well. So I also love this sort of family feel here. We have all of these different animals in the forest. So for many of you, I was talking about the communal energy of actual hermit crabs, not this sort of misconception that we see sometimes with them just being a loner. This is your chance to break out of the hermit energy and find your chosen family. Chosen family is so much stronger than blood relatives because they're the people you want to be around. They're the people that lift you up and vice versa. What's going on in your crowning position? Well, it is completion. It is success. We have the Nine of Wands, which is one of the strongest cards you can pull. You're nobody's fool. We see someone back here that might be trying to get away with something, but you're nobody's fool. Let me pull the traditional card while we're talking, and I'll just kind of highlight some things about this. First and foremost, it was really close to the top here, so this is great. This card can represent having been through one or two challenges, and we can see that in the form of that bandage on their forehead. So I just want to acknowledge that some of you have had a difficult period of time here, but it was worth it. It is worth it. You're just one step away from the 10, which is completion. One thing I'd like to highlight here, you can see the bandage on this person's forehead. This can represent stress in the form of like a migraine or a headache. It can even be difficulty in concentrating or seeing something through. Basically, what you want to do for yourself is make sure that you take take care of your mind, your body, and your spirit. So rest, meditation, relaxation, going to a doctor if there's anything that's affecting your ability to concentrate. Don't overdo it, basically. But usually this ends up manifesting as mental fatigue or a migraine or a headache. So take it easy, all right? But the good news is one step away from the finish line. Ask for help if you need it. You're going to get there. The Nine of Wands is almost like a guarantee that you're going to accomplish what you've set out to do. Now let's see what's the next step for you. We have the Moon card in reverse. This is dispelling fear and illusions. The Moon card in and of itself is also divine feminine. It's also about manifestation. It's a good card. So if we look at it upright, we also see the ability to see beyond the obvious. So it's intuitive, it's inspirational, it's creative. But sometimes we have to go into the depths of fear or anxiety and kind of release those as well. So because we've got both the Devil and the Five of Swords here, the Moon is also in that same sort of energy of revealing deception here. There might be something that comes through that you didn't want to see, but you have to see. Typically, it's an aspect of someone's personality, or it's a shortcoming, shortfall, and you're just going to say, you know, I wish I could sweep that under the rug. I wish I could ignore it, but I can't. So let's deal with it. Let's face it. If the relationship's strong enough, it will basically be able to succeed despite this. But if it isn't, this is the litmus test to basically move in a new direction. As we take a look at what's going on in your general energy, it's time to move beyond a limit. Sometimes the Devil can simply represent a limit that we place on ourselves. A thought like, I can't do this, or I'm not this enough, or maybe even rejecting positivity when it comes your way. Someone really wants to offer you something and you think to yourself, I don't deserve it. So for some of us, it's just flipping a switch and saying, the universe sees value, everyone else sees value. Why am I having such a difficult time? Let's give this a shot. All right. It's self-love, basically. And I'm going to show you the Lover's card and the Devil's card in just a second here so that you can see how close they are. So releasing your own limits would be step one. If there's anyone in your life that is trying to control you or trying to put conditions on the love that they have for you, like if you loved me, you would do this, or you need to show me this, or it's basically that you're not enough or what you're doing is not enough. This is a big old sign to move on, all right? So as an aspect of your personality, it's a chance for your own self-acceptance and unconditional love, and releasing any sort of limits that you might be, arbitrary limits that you might be putting on yourself. And when you're looking at people around you, it's avoiding people that hold stuff over you. You said this, or if you, again, putting these demands on you, all right? Let's look at the traditional Devil and Lover's cards here in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Can you see how similar they are? This is the high frequency version where they're looking at each other. It's elevated, literally, because they're in heaven. And we have an angel, ostensibly Gabriel, behind them, kind of facilitating the communication. And then, of course, we have El Diablo in this one. And we have the lovers now chained, and they're not really communicating anymore. They are stuck here. And so what we want to do is elevate this. And one of the things that I said earlier is, it's kind of like that old Fleetwood Mac song, you can go your own way. If someone wants to go, let them go. If they're not willing to listen, sometimes we can't sit there and we'll quote another song here. You can't make someone love or feel something that they don't. Bonnie Raitt, I can't make you love me if you don't. So let them go if they need to. Don't try to control them. One of the cool things about, growing up is understanding that you don't have to fix everyone. You don't have to make everyone happy. And sometimes when you do what you're supposed to do, you're unpopular, and that's okay. So elevate the conversation. Go back to a place of freedom, liberation, honesty. These are the things that the Devil hates. It's basically transparency, honesty, kindness, hope, and faith. So basically just bring out the best aspects of your personality. Push that forward at someone. See if it doesn't transmute what they're trying to put out there. And if it still doesn't, move on, okay? And that's basically what we see here. Now, when it comes to contracts and any sort of documents, really take a look at it. Get a lawyer, get a second opinion. Don't kind of paint yourself in a corner with this. You want to make sure that it's not too restrictive, all right? Now let's look at what's going on in your environment. It's pretty good, folks. The Nine of Cups is a card of celebration. This one, we also see a very fruitful energy here because it's the second card that showed pregnancy. So this can be two things coming to fruition. It doesn't have to be these are symbols. So one could be career. The other thing could be something in your life that just brings joy, whether it's a new relationship, it could be a project, it could be just a celebration of how far you've come and that you got through a challenging situation. Nine of Cups has a few different things that I want to talk about before we move on to the next one. One is that you don't want to basically look at everything as the end all or be all. This is a very intense card. When things are great, it's like top of the world. When things are challenging, sometimes it can feel like the sky is falling. The truth is, it's neither, it's somewhere in between. And so this is about just bringing it a little closer to center, but celebrating life's little victories, celebrating how far you've come, putting the disappointments or the twists and turns in context. And if you can do that, you're going to be wildly successful this month. If you have challenges with that, it's okay. That's what friends and, doctors and therapists are for. There's a lot of people that you can lean on if you need extra assistance there. You don't have to do everything. It looks like in the past, maybe there was this feeling like you had to prove it to yourself, but that's also part of the past here. We see a circle of friends in this Wheel of Fortune. And I see that you are strong and that you can do this. So this time around, if you need help, ask for help. It's okay. Looking at hopes, fears, and opportunities, things are starting to pick up as far as your schedule goes. So typically, if this card were upright, you would see a sepulcher, which is just a fancy word for like a coffin or a grave. It's a period of rest, and also it's a period of movement. With the card in reverse, movement in like getting over something, grief and release and things of that nature. What we're seeing here for some of you is that there's no free time, no time to sort of dream, no time to process, because that's one of the things that happens with sleep and with release. And so this is a time, I would say, to slow down just a little bit. Your opportunity, because this came in hopes, fears, and opportunities, is basically to just do that. Slow down the ship just a little bit. And let me just pull up the traditional Four of Swords so you can compare and contrast it. Here we go. So we can see the person getting rest, getting sleep. And I was just talking about this to Taurus the other day, but I think it was Taurus. We have the three swords here, which are basically representing the pain or the difficulty, and then this ace that's coming from letting it go, from allowing yourself to just basically be at peace. So don't rush through something. Really make sure that you understand how and why you went through something. And we can even see this person here, the giant, sort of trying to sleep here. But if it's reversed, you're either cutting yourself short on your schedule, or you're not sleeping enough, or you haven't given yourself enough time between things. And let's talk about that. Like jobs, for instance, let's say like you quit one job and you're starting the next one the following Monday. So like Friday and then Monday. It's good to give yourself a week or two between jobs if you can. Let's say you just got out of a really difficult relationship. This can be letting go of something. You need a little bit of time before you do the rebound so that you're healed, so that everything's okay, so that you're in a place where you feel like you can trust again and you know yourself and what's going on. So don't rush. That's the main thing that I can say with all of that. But I do see a rebound happening for you guys, and it's faster than you think. So wherever you can find a little bit of time to rest and meditate, take it. Because I do see the schedule getting busier. I do see you moving faster, and we still have a little bit of healing to do, and we'll talk about that. But overall, I do like that we have two windows of opportunity and movement. This one's pretty fast. It feels like you kick off the month and things are already starting to move. There's another window here, because these are two of the windows of death or transformation. There are 4 death cards. There's death, there's the 4 of Swords, the 6 of Swords, and judgment. They all show kind of transitional energy. So you got 2 of them, which tells me there are 2 openings and 2 opportunities for something really exciting to happen. As we look at your outcome energy, it's 5 of Pentacles reversed. So this is basically 1/2 step towards the 6, which is balance. The only thing that could be holding you back here is a fear that for some reason there might be rejection, or again, kind of going into the limits of the energy here that we saw with the Devil. Something that somebody said in the past could still be kind of ringing around in your head. And so what you can do this month is really practice a mantra of something like this: I'm ready, I'm worthy, and I'm aware of opportunities that are knocking, so that you can really start to embrace them. So the 6 of Pentacles would show balance. 5 of Pentacles typically is in the past, when we look historically, it's somebody that wasn't there the way they needed to be. And possibly they even said, you can't have this, you'll never do this. So those old soul scars or soul words kind of stick in our in our headspace, and you're reprogramming yourself this month to think, I'm ready for this, I can do this, I am worthy. And then all of that is going to start to open up new opportunities for you. Okay? So that's the main challenge here. From a health perspective, this is about paying special attention to the area of your feet, your ankle, and just the lower part of your leg. This particular card typically would show someone on crutches. So you just want to make sure that if you have any previous injuries, you're taking care of yourself. But otherwise, it's about making sure that you're overall healthy. It's not, typically it's a card of recovery when it's reversed, but it could mean that there's something from the past that you just need to give yourself a little bit more time to heal. Maybe it's, metaphorical, it's just your heart is getting over a heartbreak, but it could also be something physically in your body that needs more time to heal. So don't push it, don't rush it. All right, now we're actually getting into the extended portion. So let's dig a little deeper into the areas of health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll begin with the energy of health and well-being, and standard disclaimers apply here. I'm here looking at energy, so if there is anything going on in your body, make sure that you talk to a professional. Same thing with finances and other aspects of your life. With this, I love that it's much more energetic and kind of more like a general attitude. So we have, again, this white buffalo woman. She's coming through with a peace offering, and she's saying, I'm tired of fighting. It reminds me, I'm all about songs. If you can't tell today, they're just popping into my head. But Tina Turner had this great song where she said, I don't want to fight anymore, right? It was one of her, from her greatest hits album, I think. But such a good song too. Sometimes you're just tired of it. It's like we've been down that road. I've said it. And you can see that for some of you. You know that this person around you, whoever it might be, it could be a friend, family member, coworker, but you can't really reason with the energy of Five of Swords, Moon, and Devil. It's like, I don't want to fight. I don't want to try to argue. We've been there. We've done that. It doesn't really accomplish anything. We're both stubborn. I love that this is like a boar, so you can both be a little bit pig-headed sometimes. It's not worth it. You've got better things to focus on this month. So it is worth being peaceful. It might be you that's walking away and saying, fine, okay, if that's what you want to say, that's fine. Sometimes it's all right to move on and just let it go. Because when we look at what's available to you when you do that, it could be advancement in career, school, or something that you can put your energy in and develop. We have two cards showing that development in the form of delivery here. So at least a couple of portals of something coming to fruition, a couple of doors that are opening. You want to be ready for that, right? Some other things with health. Let's focus specifically on that. It feels like you would benefit from getting outside a little bit more. The hermit sometimes is stuck in the office, stuck in the house, or stuck in one space so much that it's hard to get that insight that we see here in the lantern. And it's also saying you may be in a place where people just don't necessarily see you, therefore they may not recognize what you're offering. And in this day of remote working, that is a challenge. It's so nice to be able to be in your own space and be your own boss sometimes, but sometimes out of sight, out of mind. So make sure that you are on the radar if you need to be. Again, kind of going into wealth a little bit there, but the health part of this is to change up the environment because it changes your energy. It moves your sort of, first of all, it's good for your heart. It's good for your sort of body, but it also can move all of the sort of psychic and emotional energy as well. Don't push things too much. For those of you that have just started on a path of like physical fitness or changed up your diet or your routine, Nine of Wands in reverse can be sort of putting too much of a burden on yourself. Let me see if I still have the traditional Nine of Wands here. You saw it. It was the one with the Band-Aid. We really don't want to go back down that road and kind of push yourself too much or too far too fast. The Moon card in reverse actually has some very specific health messages. For women, this can be reproductive sort of energy, and we actually got two cards showing pregnancies here. Some of you might be really trying to get pregnant, or there may be twins, or there may just be some energy around reproductive health that you want to look at. It also hits men in reproductive health as well. Overall, though, it's just about making sure that you've got enough water, and if it's coming, your emotions in general, we just want to kind of make sure that you have an outlet, someone to talk to, some way to sort of navigate the emotions. And again, whether that is talking to a professional or whatever feels right for you, absolutely. Things could be a little bit intense right now. There could be things out of your control. By the way, this can represent someone in your life that might be on a path where you can't necessarily help them. So Judgment and the Four of Swords, like I said, they're cards of transition. And that sometimes isn't your choice. It isn't your path. And what you might be dealing with is, again, supporting someone that's going through some of that. Or if there was something that was lost, whether it was material, relationship, or actual person in your life, again, we can't always control these things, but there is the aftermath, which is the coping and the managing of what's next. I do like that the ultimate card is that of healing, so we have a nice journey here. It's mostly emotional this month, folks. So take care of yourself, get the support you need if you need it. If you're in a good space, what we see here is just things picking up pretty quickly, so make sure you're getting enough sleep. That's for those of you where everything is hunky-dory. I see a little bit of a lack of sleep. All right, that's everything for health. Let's take a look now at the energy of wealth, which is resources. Money, time, energy, all of those things. So let's see what's coming through with respect to resources. It's starting to thaw out for some of you. The reverse of an iceberg for me is actually a thaw. So also it's telling me that you see the depth that you have to offer, because the tip of the iceberg, or this submerged card, would say you're only seeing this. So if the iceberg, if we're looking at the bottom of it, we're seeing how deep things go. So for some of you, you now understand I want more. Or you understand I'm worth more, which is absolutely connected to not getting enough and saying, you're putting it on the table saying, I need this, or I'm going to move into a different direction. I'm tired of promises that don't pan out. You have the experience that they're looking for, and you can find something else. So all of that comes through. So we see enlightenment, awakening, we see things thawing out. It still has ice though. So when we're looking at general movement, it may take a month or two to change things. So one thing to think about when it comes to change is that however long it took you to get into something, it can take you sometimes at least that amount of time to get out, or at least half that amount to get out, because it's like turning a really big ship. You can't just, it's not like a bike and it's not like a car. It requires a lot more cranking, a lot more patience, and give yourself that time and patience, okay? But I do see things starting to warm up. I do see opportunities coming. There might be an opportunity knocking sooner than later, one at the beginning of the month, and then there might be something worth celebrating also coming through, and it speeds up the timeline. It speeds up everything for you, okay? All of that is pretty good. For those of you that are sort of, the word that comes to me is you feel like you're stuck. This is the month to get unstuck. You have to be the agent of change though. What we're seeing here is someone that may just want to keep you close to them. So let me find the lover again. The lovers and the devil. Where did they go? Oh, here they are. So lovers and devil. So what this shows me sometimes is possessive energy. So sometimes it can be a boss, sometimes it can be a parent or a friend that's like, I want you to be happy, but I want you to be here. Like, I don't want to let you go. So that possessive energy could be what's going on here in a job. Someone likes you a lot. They want to keep you in your position, and it's time. Like I said, you have to basically expand. It's either moving up or moving out for some of you. So that won't work. Okay. When it comes to contracts, really be careful. I would go back to the negotiation table if you don't like what you see. Generally speaking, whether you are employed or not employed, retired or looking for work, here's a couple of things that I want to highlight. Getting better control or visibility into your money is going to be really important. Not undervaluing the skills and what you have to bring to the table, that's also important. And I think also making sure that people keep their promises across the board is going to be important as well. All right, let's move on to love and relationships. This can be romantic, platonic, friends and family, just like it says. And the card came through reverse, but let's look at it close up here. It says, instead of praying for an outcome, I pray for the highest good of all, or highest good for all. And this was very much in alignment with what I was talking about with the hermit crab, where they even queue up and share the shells, and basically they try to help each other. They look for symbiotic relationships. So maybe some of you had to go through something where someone didn't have your back or wouldn't let you grow, but now you're going to learn from that and you're not going to repeat the mistakes, and you're not attracting it. It's not in the outcome cards at all. It's basically saying, I want higher love now. I don't need this. I'm ready for this. Because sometimes it's better to just be on my own than in something like this. So open yourself up to receive higher love this month and to wait for that higher love if you have to. I think that's one thing that's coming through. I'm going to break this down into 3 different categories. For those of you that are currently in a relationship, it's all about honesty and giving each other the flexibility and the freedom to be yourselves. That's like the easiest way that I can summarize this. This is a breakdown in communication. This is casting judgment on one another. These are elevated emotions. This is holding someone to something that they don't want to do. This is actually kind of like forcing them to do that as well. So we want to walk away from that. We want to give each other some time and space and really allow the other person to feel like they're worthy, that you love each other. You want to elevate it, like I said earlier. So with this, you would basically say, I love you, I support you. What do you need? What do you want? And then be able to speak in a constructive way. One thing that's important, if you want to make it work in relationships, walking out isn't the best thing. You have to face the fears, you have to face the hopes together, the good and the not so good. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult. So I think the main thing here, and it is something that you may need assistance with, is facilitating healthier conversations, being able to get through an argument or a disagreement and not have it be the end of the world. If you can do that, I do think that we see healing. I do think that we see movement here. I think things can get better, but that's the biggest challenge that I see for some of you. Others, it feels like there is a person that just likes to be on their own. There's different communication styles, and someone may be retreating into work a little bit, and so that could also be a challenge. For those of you that are looking for love this month, it could come in the form of a Scorpio. We have the moon coming through here. Also, things could happen a little faster than you imagine because we have the 4 of Swords reversed. So that's like time speeding up a bit. There could also be a Capricorn coming through for you, but this card typically represents availability or a lack of availability. So as you're looking at new potential partners or friendships, one thing that you want to look at is, are they able to give you what you need when you want that, and vice versa? So just being honest with each other and really being clear about expectations, that's going to be healthy and positive. We don't want any third parties. We don't want any expectations that are hard to meet. All of that is something to be mindful of. I think that there's a little bit of healing to do. Some of you actually need and want to focus a little bit on finances and personal health. And this is true for all relationships, but making sure that that's taken care of first. For those of you that are on a rebound, the same thing. It's kind of like giving yourselves time to just focus on that. Recovery energy is going to be ever so important. And if you're single and happy, I think that what's opening up for you is, first of all, you can really ride the wave of this new opportunity or this new you, unencumbered and basically unlimited or untethered by the past. So this is a chance to really focus on reinvention, and it could be in any aspect of your life. But we see health and wealth, your personal health and your money in the outcome, and really overcoming fears this month. And that's such a great thing to be apparent here. And we do have the Wheel of Fortune. So this is a month where things are changing for the better, and you have a chance to really ride that energy of change and make the most of it. So to me, that's really exciting. Again, focusing on this message, looking at the better good. Instead of praying for an outcome, I pray for the highest good for all. Making sure that if it's not good for the two of you, if it's not good for everyone, it may not be the best thing to do. So you're trying to have that nice symbiotic energy as well. Okay, let's transition now into the energy of destiny. And in destiny, it says you've won the lottery. The card was reversed. So there could still be this little feeling of disbelief. Can I? Will I? Is this possible? Or when will this happen? And if we look at the very bottom, it says, make room for wonderment. That's the key to success this month, folks, is to hold space for possibility. And the judgment card is not just what I said earlier. It can also be you judging something before it happens. So yes, it's rebounding. Yes, it's life after death. Yes, it's new opportunities, it's expansion, but it's also decisions. And if you decide an outcome before you've been shown what's possible, then it invites this energy in. So this is actually the key to overcoming this. Make room for wonderment. Imagine that something good can happen. Don't expect and invite the same old pattern in. And that's perhaps the most powerful thing that could come through today for you. is by holding space for positivity, by basically being that sort of peaceful, positive, and higher energy that we saw with the lovers as well, great things can happen. All right, let's now look at the sun, rising, and moon messages just to get a little bit more clarity on these different aspects of the chart, and then we'll go to the final card after that. All right, so sun, rising, and moon. It's all pretty good, folks. Let's begin with sun sign messages. We have the Ace of Swords in reverse. So this is a perfect card to deal with this. What does the Ace of Swords in reverse do? It is about speaking up, speaking out, editing, changing, basically saying this doesn't work for me, but this does. So it's like a pen on paper, redlining, highlighting, circling. It's communicating and saying, actually, I have a thought or I have a correction here. It's just everything that will help you with that double energy. So speak up, speak from the heart, speak truthfully, take action, revise, edit. It's all here, folks, okay? We also have not a personification, but a representation of Excalibur. And it's saying, it's your turn, you're the one. You can take this opportunity and run with it, okay? And stuff like this happens. These windows of opportunities sometimes only come once or twice in a lifetime. So if you feel called to do something this month, now is the time. If not now, then when? And again, this card connects with that as well, the Wheel of Fortune. Things are turning around. Things are turning in your favor. This is a new you, a new opportunity. So go for it, okay? Moving along to the rising sign, we have the Four of Wands. This represents friendship, monogamy, partnership, and the ability to really build something that will last. I love the little lily pads in this card as well. That's also indicating just how far you've come, because whenever I see either a lotus blossom or a lily pad, they have to travel through all the depths of the pond basically to make it to the surface. So for those of you that have had someone that's been through thick and thin with you, you know that the next step is going to be easy because they've already seen all the chapters of your life, and this is someone that's really there for you, and I like that. The Four of Wands is also exactly what we see here, creating space, just like we talked about in this card, make room for the wonderment, but this is basically creating space for something before it shows up. So you may be cleaning up aspects of your life in anticipation of meeting a partner, or maybe you're cleaning up your finances so that you and your partner can do something amazing like buy a house or whatever. It's basically saying, I'm ready for the next step, and we're going to do everything to align ourselves to that next step even before it comes. And by doing that, I'm actually manifesting that. I'm actually attracting it because I know that it's coming and I believe in it, and that is an attractive energy. So hold space for something. Focus a little bit more on the friendships and the core relationships in your life that bring you that sense that someone has your back, and things are looking up, I have to say with this. Good partnerships on the horizon here. It doesn't have to just be love, folks. This can be work or friendship, and it's usually a deeper connection. You could be out there also cultivating that and creating that. And again, it can be all the different things that we see here, including children and animals, and it doesn't have to just be adults and coworkers and all of that jazz. All right, so I like what I see there. Moving on from the energy of rising to moon, we have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Many of you are saying, I need a timeout. I need something for myself. And I support that. The Queen of Pentacles usually gets what she wants, and it feels like this is exactly what's necessary to counteract Five of Pentacles energy, maybe in the past the Devil energy, or for some of you, this person that or this opportunity that didn't turn out the way you want. So this time around, you see, and you fight for your worth, and I support that based on the sort of what I'm seeing here in front of me. Queen of Pentacles in reverse can be going back to school, can be getting a really firm handle on the finances, can be talking about money and hopes and dreams and practical matters. And it can also be saying, I need to take care of myself, whatever that is, getting a massage, getting a better living environment, getting a better job. This is your month to focus on you, being the eternal mother and eternal sort of parental figure that we all have to be for ourselves as we get older. Now we're going to move along to the final card. By the way, this month the meditation is a separate video. I'll put a link below so you can find that. Focusing on the final card, this can be any question that I haven't yet answered. Just hold that in your mind and let me pull a card to see what Spirit has to say. Love what we got here with the Empress. This is a card of empowerment. This is basically saying if you set your mind to it, you can do it, and you are the person to make this happen. This is basically one of the ultimate boss cards, maybe second only to the Emperor, but I see them both as equals when we're looking at the major arcana. And I love how we just see the tapestry of everything that she's got on her dress there. So what is it you're trying to create? The clearer you are in your vision, the clearer the universe can kind of show up with that sort of next step. You may be the one that has to sort of initiate or create it. This is a birthing card, so if there's a question of when or if or how, the answer would be you and now, and you can also bring people into the fold. You don't have to do it all yourself, but you have to be leading the charge here. This can also be a connection for those of you that want to reconnect with your parents, or maybe again, you're thinking of starting a family or creating something. All of that energy is comprised here in the Empress. It's very favorable, and it's showing you finally kind of feeling like you've got everything in the right space at the right time. And I'm happy that that's what we pulled here at the end. If you enjoyed what you saw today, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up and leave a comment below. I read every comment and it absolutely helps me understand what you like and what you'd like to see. It's also a great way that YouTube can interpret what's cool and it serves it up to other people. So thank you in advance. If you would like to connect with me on social media, here's my handle. It's @NicholasAshbaugh on all major platforms. If you have any questions, you can go to my website. All the links are there. A quick reminder that I don't offer any private readings. I also don't use direct messages for business. So if someone's messaging you on social media, you know it's not me. Basically report them and be safe. I do want to say thank you to everybody that gave back with a super sticker, super chat, super thanks, or a membership. It's such a great way to show support here. It helps build the community and it allows me to do more videos. From the bottom of my heart to you, I just want to say I hope you have a great month ahead. I hope to see you on future monthly, weekly, and daily videos. And in the meantime, have a great day, folks. Thank you so much.